Should I take WTO reforms? There is an urban development, rapid urbanization and problems, and World Trade Organization reforms are there. I'll explain World Trade because it is important and you will get question. So what are the reforms that are necessary at WTO level? First tell me. Later I'll getting into this entire. Why you need a reforms at WTO level? If at all reforms are necessary, what type of reforms will you suggest? And is it clear ASPA for online students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now WTO reforms. What type of reforms we can bring it in WTO? Any idea to anybody? If at all we need to. IPR issue of what? In India is patent. See, in India, okay, anyhow, you have raised that issue. Just I am asking. In India, is the product is patented or is the process is patented? Earlier, why it was process and now it is product? Huh? If the product is patented, no one should not produce that product. If the process is patented, that process is patented, but in another process I can do the product. Now tell me, which patent we are having now? If one produce one product, no one should not produce another product. Why? When this change was happened actually? In the 1970s it happened. Indira Gandhi has brought a change. Indira Gandhi has brought a change. And Indira Gandhi has brought a change because at that point of time, if you are patenting the entire product, then it is very difficult for the other to produce. But if you make the process as a patent, you will get only patent on the process, and so that other people can also come up with the same product in a different way. But anyhow, when it comes to the WTO, what are the reforms are necessary? Agricultural subsidies is one. Next. Service sector has already included and recently it got strengthened also when it comes to the services sector. Okay, anyway, when it was started WTO, I'll go into explain because there are some technical points. When it was started WTO? 1995, within Uruguay round of discussions of 1986 and with an end up with Marrakesh round of discussions. And 164 countries are there. India was a founding member, and you know all the agreements, trims, remaining things. Without giving any introduction to WTO, because you all know the purpose, functions, and what WTO do, how it will control, how it will regulate the world trade, free trade, everything. I'm only focusing on reforms. Okay, because you are already know, and I've already explained in the economic class itself. I'm just going to the reforms. Because you have to write a clear-cut points. That is why I'm giving. See, one is reform suggested by India, one is reform suggested at the world level. Please divide it into. Okay, reform suggested at the world level, reform suggested by India, because developed countries suggested some reforms, developing countries are suggesting some reforms. First, reforms at the world level, what other countries are actually suggesting. First point. See, how decision will be taken at WTO? is it consensus? This is important. Without consensus, we don't take any decision at WTO. It's not something like 51:49. No, consensus must be there. If you don't have a consensus, then you cannot take any decision. And the European Union is suggesting, please change this. Please change this. It's not possible always to take a decision on consensus. Everyone has to accept. Everyone has to accept. Consensus means everyone has to accept. So it's very difficult to take. So EU is suggesting, please remove it. So if some of the plurilateral members, and WTO is having some committees, and if those committees are accepted, let's change the rule book into that, those decisions can be taken. And going to every country to take the permission, it is very difficult. Change this process. Developed countries suggesting. EU is suggesting. Strengthen WTO committees to take decisions and improve their functioning, because WTO in the sense not general body take decision, but committees, improving their effectiveness and try to give power to take decisions. Suppose we have taken a decision. Someone don't follow the decision, what you will do? You can't do anything. You can't do anything. Individually, any country can place a restriction, but WTO cannot say like, okay, no one should supply anything to. No, these punitive actions are not there. But here, some countries are saying there must be a punitive action for violation of notification obligations. There are some decisions in which you can take, but not for every notification you no need to follow it. There are some areas where you no need to follow, but make it as a punitive action for violation of not following the notification, and also do naming and shaming. I think you know what is naming and shaming. Naming and shaming means Srijit is not listening the class, he's playing with mobile. I have to paste it everywhere in the institute. That is what naming and shaming. Simply. So that everyone will be careful when they are dealing with Srijit. That is what naming and shaming. Next. Huh? You can negative publicity. Next, there is a yes and DT. Yes and DT. Yes and DT. What is this yes and DT? Special and differential treatment. S and DT means special and differential treatment. That means all the countries are not treated equally. Developed countries are treated in a different way. Developing countries are treated in a different way. But who will decide whether a country is a developing country or not? Is there any mechanism? No. As a country, you can decide you are as a developing country. If you decide yourself as a developing country, then there is some safeguards are there for the developing countries, like Doha Agreement 2001, agreement on agriculture, food subsidies. But developed countries are saying you have to use this yes and DT very carefully, because you have given the power to themselves to designate themselves as a developing power. So yes and DT must be affected very carefully. It should not be misused. It should not be misused. Fourth point. Next. Next point. Appellate body, World Trade Organization appellate body. What is the problem with this body? Can you tell me? No. From the Donald Trump's time, actually it's a 7-member body. The judges are retired. United States of America not interested in appointing the judges. Because United States of America strongly believing that this World Trade Organization is not functioning well, it is working against the interest of the America, and moreover, it's not working with the ideals with which we have started. That is why they don't want to run this WTO properly. That is why they are not interested in appointing this, because their contribution is also necessary. They are not interested. And when there is no appellate body, now normally you will take an issue to the WTO and they will give some decision and immediately you will have an appeal. But when a party knows that there is no appeal to this judgment, will they go to the WTO? No, generally we'll say, okay, we'll go for justice. But if it comes against to us, there is an appeal. If you think that there is an appeal, then normally people go. But as you have completely deactivating or you don't want to function the appellate tribunal, it is disincentivizing some of the states to bring their issues to the WTO level. If at all we wanted to work WTO properly, we must appoint the judges to the appellate body, and also we must strengthen this WTO appellate body. Is it clear? So WTO appellate body. It was started in 1995. 7-member thing. Next. What is the issue? Judges are not appointed. America is blocking the appointment of judges. Without judges, how can you run? Without America's role, it's very difficult to appoint in WTO. Not in WTO, in whatever thing, because the majority of the decision, they are the major people, no? It's all combinedly decides. But when a major power like America is obstructing, it is very difficult to follow with the process. Pendency, and moreover, people are not coming, and if at all they have an issue, they will settle somewhere else. There are international court of arbitrations, there are some multilateral things, there they can appoint. So be clear about different points. Again, don't try, you must improve transparency, you must improve efficiency, there must be a grievance redressal mechanism. These things you are not supposed to bring. No, I'm just saying in a lighter way. When I'm giving very specific points, you have to be so specific. Next point. So now you are understanding how difficult to write some of the answers. Otherwise, you thought like it's so simple. If I know general thing, I can write anything with my own English. Okay? No. Very careful. Next one. See, you have said subsidies. Use this term SOES. See, some of the developed countries are against to this huge amount of subsidies given on some products, because if you give huge subsidies, they will become cheap in other country, and the domestic people will only prefer only that cheap products. Then it is not a perfect thing to do. So developed countries are against the subsidies, distorting subsidies on some products, and also state-owned companies. SOES means state-owned companies. That means, okay, if you are a manufacturer, you are manufacturing something. I am distorting the product, I am giving huge amount of subsidy. So you are considered like this is a distorting subsidy and you want to put a ban on this. But there are some things where I don't give any subsidy, but it will be subsidized because it will work under me. If a state-owned company, state-owned company can get lot of amount of benefits, but it don't looks like a subsidy. If you give it to the private people, it is a subsidy. The entity is your own entity. I myself manufacturing the bikes as a government. I can burden anything. My product can be so cheaper, but you cannot classify it as a subsidy. It's a very difficult thing. So the discharging subsidies and also the state-owned companies products must be dealt separately. Must be dealt separately. I think you understood. Okay. And especially with respect to China, they are focusing on China. Especially some of the countries like China. Next. Now, some of the countries like China, they are suggesting improve WTO monitoring. Until and unless someone bring to your notice, you don't know what is happening in this world. Is that the way you will work? Are you monitoring? You know what is happening in China? How Hong Kong is doing the trade? How America is doing the trade? You don't know. Just improve your monitoring. Okay, one more point. Next one is some of the countries are suggesting to WTO. WTO must respect multilateralism. Must respect multilateralism. Multilateralism and respect development models. This is China is proposing actually this. Respect development models. That means what? See, we are a global power and now we have become a single village and there is a WTO at global level we are discussing. Suddenly I want to make a group with my region. What's wrong with that? Why WTO sometimes passing a negative comments to that grouping? So you also respect multilateralism. Multilateralism leads to more globalization. So multilateralism must be respected by WTO. Multilateral means some countries come together. Individual means every country on their own. Globalization means everyone come together. Multilateralism means this is one multilateralism, this is one multilateralism. And also respect the developmental models. See, in America, everyone is produced by the individuals. But in China is running a lot of companies. China is giving a lot of subsidies. In India, agriculture is a lot of subsidized. See, everyone cannot produce like how America is producing. It's not possible. You are a country of migrants. You have a historical advantage. You may say like, okay, private people may develop well and they may produce. And as a government, you don't want to give subsidy. But in my country, my development model is something. And if you say that I don't accept your product, what is the respect that you are giving to my model? Do you want me to follow the same model that America is following? You are saying like I don't want to give any subsidy to my farmer. You are saying like I should not run any state-run company. This is something wrong. WTO must also respect the developmental models. What model I am promoting? This is what some countries are proposing. Okay. Next, one more thing, some countries are more transparency must be needed. More transparency must be needed in case of non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers. I think I have explained what is a tariff barrier, what is a non-tariff barrier. Tariff barrier means it is related to the taxation. Non-tariff barrier means it is related to processes. See, tomorrow I can say like, no, I don't accept your vegetable because there is a huge pesticide content in it. I don't use your I don't accept your mangoes because there is some sort of bacteria or virus content in that. These are all non-trade barriers. And you know, European Union says, I think I mentioned in the class, I don't accept your products because you are not respecting human rights in your country. This is not trade barrier, but can that be a barrier to trade? So transparency is required in case of non-tariff barriers. I think I have given almost 10 points. As far as reforms suggest 9, okay, whatever, 9 points. It is reform suggested by the different countries at the world level. Don't think like, oh no, we should write only India's. No. Developed countries also suggesting some processes, some reforms. Now I'll come to India's. India's. And our main concern is implement Doha round 2001, because in this round some of the favors are given to developing world that must be implemented. First one in general, but in specific, public stock holding of food grains. What is this public stock holding of food grains? And how much amount of food grains that we are storing under Food Corporation of India? Some lakhs and lakhs of tons. That should not be done. That is what WTO says. But in the year 2013, Government of India has agreed to something like we will completely done away with all these things by the time of 2017 or 18. But again in the year 2015, no, not in the 15, I think in the 14, when Modi government came and they are somewhat able to convince. See, what does it mean? Public stockholding means you are procuring the food grain at a subsidized rate. Whatever the MSP is a subsidized thing, it's not a market rate. At a subsidized price, we are procuring. And that subsidized food grains, we are storing it. Okay, I'm procuring at a subsidized rate, I'm storing it. What is the problem to you? The problem is, if you have a huge amount of food grains, that too they have procured through a subsidized price. Now there is huge amount of rice in this country. When there is a huge amount of rice in this country, who will import it from America? Who will import it from China? Who will import it from other countries? No. So literally we are disincentivizing, or we are not encouraging some of the agricultural imports from the foreign country, because we are already growing, we are already storing. And okay, are you really collecting at a market price? No, you are subsidizing it. So through that subsidy, you are storing huge amount of food grains. Because of that, some of the countries are unable to perform trade with your country. Is it not a trade distorted practice? Yes. But as India is a developing country, we are poor, we are having a lot of poor people. We need to improve our nutritional security. That is why we are following. We wanted to follow. And there must be a permanent solution. For every 2 years, you can't bring this issue to the World Trade Organization. What about your public stock holding? India wanted a permanent solution. Yes, for next 30 years or until our per capita GDP has reached $6,000 or maybe $7,000, we will continue. So there must be a permanent solution for this issue of public stock holding of food grains. Is it okay? Point is clear? I think you might have read this point somewhere, but I don't know whether you will be this much clear about this point. If you understand, no, you don't forget. If you read, no, you will forget. I know. Okay. Next, India's point is commercial industries must be treated separately or treated differently from small industries. Commercial industries must be treated differently from small scale industries. You cannot follow the same rules. That's what India's point. Okay. And the subsidy structure must be revised it very carefully. On the one hand, you are saying green box subsidies are acceptable and amber box and blue box subsidies are not acceptable. Our farmers is poor farmers. They need some sort of assistance. Our agricultural practicing system is different. Please, India is considering, please looking into this small farmers. Your farmers are not small farmers. Your farmers are big landlords. You may give subsidies in a different way, but we will give it in a different way. So please address that. That is one aspect. Next. Again, dispute settlement bodies. India is also recommending that dispute settlement body must become strengthened. Dispute settlement. That means what? Appellate board. Appellate board must be strengthened. One more thing, India along with South Africa, what we are proposing? COVID-19 vaccine must be get a waiver of TRIPS. What is the problem with that? Because intellectual property rights are there. If intellectual property rights are there, then what is the problem? Until and completion of 20 years, that formula cannot be used by any other manufacturer. But under the compulsory licensing, there was a provision, you can use that, but governments don't want to use it because it may hurt the business sentiment in the country. Have you understood this point? Why we are not, though there is an option under using compulsory licensing for life-saving drugs, but still not only India, any other country is not using because it may hurt the business sentiments. But at the WTO level itself, if all the countries come together and if they take a collective decision to give a TRIPS waiver to this, perhaps the least developed countries and some of the developing countries can really get benefit out of this. Otherwise, countries are going for 2 doses, booster advanced doses, but unfortunately, some of the countries, even they don't know what is a vaccine. Some of the people, they don't know what is a vaccine. Provision is there, but we don't want to use it because I'll tell you. See, America don't want to use it, London or England don't want to use it, Singapore don't want to use it. Suppose just assume because of the condition India is using, then tomorrow what America, England and Singapore will tell, see this country, business unfriendly country. Did any investor come to this country? See how reverse they are moving. They will start blaming. And why we should take that blame? That is the reason why what we are saying is, instead of taking decision at my level, let collectively will take decision because it is for the collective humanity. I hope. Now worldwide anyone can do that. Worldwide anyone can do that because WTO itself is giving that waiver now. Okay. And suppose because this question was already asked, because we have used the, actually there was an evergreening license, the question was asked, Nevar Xevic cancer drug, the question was asked in 2013. But suppose if you get a question on this, though there is a provision in the under compulsory licensing, but as it is to cater the humanity of the world, it's better if you take a collective decision. And if India takes the decision alone, then though we have some positive things, we can supply the vaccines to everybody, but it will have a negative impact. But when it comes to the India, as India is a pharmaceutically so advanced country, so without waiver also we can produce more and more amount of money, and we are moving in the positive direction. And according to the minister, we can produce next year 5 billion vaccines also. Don't say like, no, this is a very crisis condition, so we have to go for waiver. No, don't go for, because it is going to have negative consequences. But if at all you want to take a decision, India is already fighting at the world level that please take a collective decision. Clear? You need to get lot of clarity on lot of things. I think now I'm understanding. But anyhow, it's a part of journey, no? You'll understand over a period of time. One more thing. It's about the subsidy on fisheries. Fishermen. Subsidy on fishermen. See, actually, should we give subsidy to fishermen or not? This is the question. What at World Trade Organization level, what they are saying is, no, you should not give any sort of subsidies to these people, because if you give subsidies, these people are completely ruining the entire marine resources and they are completely washing away all the fishes and all. So it's environmentally not sustainable. But Indian position is something different with respect to this fishery subsidy. I'll read whatever the points you want to take from that, you can take it. India has also proposed that a country engaged in a distant water fishing cannot provide fishery subsidy for 25 years. So a country which engaged in distant water fishing, distant water in the sense more than 200 nautical miles. Distant water in the sense waters in the long to your coast. In that water, you are not supposed to provide subsidy for 25 years. That means those who are doing fishing activity in the coastal area, they must be given subsidy. Distant water, see, distant water, why not in distant water means some of the countries are so good at this fishing activity. They have developed a lot of good technology. And some of the times what they are doing is by crossing these 200 nautical miles, they are entering into the other country's exclusive economic zone. If you provide subsidies, then who can utilize that subsidy? That subsidy is utilized only by the technically proficient, a business friendly or commercial fisheries only utilize that beneficiary. Second one is those who are exploiting the other country's exclusive economic zone, they are utilizing it. So it is not utilizing for your normal simple farmer, simple fisherman. So what we are saying is those who are limited their activity to the coastal area in the normal near water, we can provide subsidy. But India is against to the people, those who are crossing the boundaries and those who are exploiting more in a commercial way and those who are fishing in other countries' exclusive economic zone, we don't want to provide subsidy to that. And it's not only India, any country should not do that. But for your own fishermen development in your own water in a sustainable way, you can go. You can provide subsidies. Maybe by the time of 25 years, everyone will come to that stage. Now everyone can compete. I don't know, but those things. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't take permission from them, no. So tomorrow they don't import your fishes. They will say like it is highly subsidized fishes. Okay. Earlier we used to see the quality, but now we are using whether it is subsidized or not. And one more thing, India don't want to join in talks on e-commerce because this World Trade Organization, they are bringing this e-commerce issue into World Trade Organizations. That means because nowadays trade has happened in e-commerce platform, so let me frame rules and regulations under e-commerce. But India don't want to join in these e-commerce traders because India believe once at the world trade level, if the e-commerce rules and regulations are prepared, then it will be disadvantage to India because only America and developed countries can frame the rules and regulations according to their own interests. If tomorrow India want to have a different rules, it cannot because it is still an evolving sector. We need to watch and wait, and once we have evolved it fully and once we have utilized it fully, then we will come to how fairly we can frame the rules and regulations on e-commerce. Clear? I hope each and every point is clear to you from both world side and India side. Now if you get a question on this WTO reform, I hope you will write a certain correct precise answer. Okay. What you understood, tell me, I'll add to that. Why India don't want to? It's not all tax, but once e-commerce topic was discussed at the WTO level, the rules will be framed. Once the rules will be framed, you have to follow that rules. And you don't know the present day rules will really help to you or not, because you are not so developed as far as e-commerce is concerned. Now the America and other developed countries may frame the rules in such a way that it may useful only for the developed countries, not developed countries. But once you agree for that, no, then whether you like it or not, you have to follow that rules. Some provisions which may disadvantage to India. Taxes or anything, favoring somebody, disfavoring somebody, complaining, anything, because commerce means comes very lot of issues. Imposing a tax is a discretion of country. But they will bring some different clauses. And see now, the point is India is unable to export some products to China and America, but whereas America is exporting everything to India. But the rule says that everyone should allow the same thing. Tomorrow America will say, so I don't import the service, so and so service from India because they have used a thefted software, not an original software. We will say like it's an original software. They will say, no, you have not purchased. So the point here I'm saying is they can bring any rule or they can frame the rules in any way. But once we agree to now itself, it will be very difficult for India because we are not in a position to completely evaluate the implications of e-commerce. It's not just about tax, it's about tariff and non-tariff. Because there are non-tariff issues are also there, no? Okay. So is it clear for online students, WTO reforms, both world level and India level?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next, I'll take last topic.
Amrita IAS Academy.